All right, good morning, Lagos. Good morning, everyone from around the world, wherever it is that you are listening to this show from. This is Ugodre, and I bring to you Follow the Money, brought to you by Nigerian. We do this every Monday, 8 to 8:30 on this station. Yeah, it's been a very busy week for the stock market. By the way, this is the first time I'm back on the show. First time on the show in 2 weeks. I've been out and about hustling, you know what I mean, trying to get you guys very important information. Anyway, it's going to be a pretty busy week this week with a lot of the public offers that are likely to be announced. And there's one that's going to be going up today. I'll talk about it later on the show. But it's bound to be a very interesting show. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to talk a little bit about the NGX. There was a major appointment there last week. And then, of course, got some news on Oando. Yeah, Oando is on the show today. I'm also going to talk a little bit about pension funds. You all know I have my own issues with pension funds, and if time permits me, I might unload. And of course, Access Bank. I just let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, Access Bank. We're going to talk about Access Bank today as well. Their offer is out today. And there's this other one on best performing stocks for the week. Best performing stocks for June, actually. There are 10 of them, and you don't want to find out who the top was. It's something, probably a stock that you probably never heard of. Sounds like someone's name, but it's a company. A company has been there for years, like over close to 50 years, actually. And then we close with, of course, stocks on my radar. My stock pick for today. You don't want to miss out this stock. I love it. I've had it for a while. Thinking of getting more of it. And it's a company that is, sound. One of the quintessential Nigerian companies that you're probably very much familiar with. So we're going to talk about that stock towards the end of the show. All right, so we start quickly. The NGX made a very important announcement last week. They confirmed the appointment of Mr. Jude Chiemeka as the substantive Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Exchange Limited. Now, in case you're wondering what's the difference, so there's Nigerian Exchange Group and there's a Nigerian Exchange Limited. So Nigerian Exchange Limited basically runs the stock market. That's the stock exchange, as we used to call it then. And then you have the Nigerian Exchange Group, which has several other subsidiaries under the group. So the group CEO still remains Temi Pukwala, who used to be the CEO of Nigerian Exchange Limited. So Mr. Jude has been acting for a while, for some months now. And then some of us have been wondering, this guy has been acting since January. Why not just confirm him? So it's taken them 6 months to do that. So he's confirmed as the new CEO. So, Mr. Jude, I hope that now that you're CEO, I hope you're listening, we're going to see some good changes. We're going to see improvements in the stock market. You come with solid pedigree. I've been tracking you for a bit. You're a markets person. You understand how the stock market works. You've also been on the other side of things before. So now you're on the, I don't have to call it regulatory side or exchange side, but you've been on the other side, our side. And so a lot of people want to see a vibrant stock market. Are you going to take the stock market to, places that we've always dreamt it should be? Are we going to go beyond just 160 stocks and maybe have 250 stocks? Or maybe just have a lot of vibrant stocks as well? Because today, you probably can't invest in more than 30, 40 stocks on that exchange. Max 40, the rest of them are just penny stocks that you probably can't even get if you wanted to buy them. So are we going to see more listings under your tenure? Are you going to have more IPOs? Public offers, right issues? I know the banks are there ready to help, but are we going to see more of it? Is it going to happen this era, your era? Is there going to be improvement in technology? We did see a lot under Tempokwala's era, so are we going to see more this time around? I want to see a lot of it so that we can have a stock market to be proud of. Nigeria's stock market already was the best performing in Africa the first half of the year. And so you're basically coming up on a very sound note. So here's best of luck to you, and we would always give you all our support here at Nigerian. Congratulations, and look forward to a vibrant NGX. But if you don't do well, we'll come at you. All right, we move on straight to the next story. Oando has had a pretty rough last decade. I could remember 2014, they were coming up on a high. This time around, 2014 actually. Maybe sometime around like June 2014, they had just bought ConocoPhillips. I'm sure you all remember that deal if you're someone who follows the stock market a lot. They bought ConocoPhillips and it was solid buy for $1.3 billion at the time. And then the crude oil market tanked. And that actually precipitated into the challenges we have in Nigeria today, because from that time when the crude oil fell, we haven't actually recovered as a country economically. That is, we've not been back to where we were in 2014. And so that kind of affected Oando as well, and they really took a hit and they had several challenges. But it looks like they've basically rode out the storm, and now they are getting back to where I guess they were before. So something happened last week. The share price topped 17 naira per share. For perspective, the last time Oando was anywhere close to that price was in 2015. So you can imagine how remarkable this growth is. And this growth has just been in the last few months. And so that stock has risen. So did you buy the wave? Did you get your hands on that stock? I doubt it, but that's been the story for Oando over the last few months. I think you're wondering what are the key drivers here. Mix of a few things. First of all, there's this deal that they were trying to get for a while, and they were trying to buy shares of Nigerian Ajib company, NAOC, and that hit the roadblock for a bit. But finally, the NUPRC approved it, and so they now have free way to get 100% control of the shares, to buy 100% of Ajib NOAC's shares in the JV. And so that was a huge boost for the company, because that is meant to open a whole new stream of income for Oando PLC. And then they also recently just got relisted on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. So that's another good news that they had. And then they are finally also released their unaudited 2023 results. In fact, they released a string of results that have been pending for some years now. And the unaudited 2023 results saw revenues topping 3.5 trillion, profit 74 billion. So kind of looks like, in terms of fundamentals, they seem to be getting out of the woods as well. And before that, they also appear to have solved a lot of the legal cases that they've had over the years. So looks like, the future is kind of bright for that company. I kind of also feel like there's some internal restructuring still going on. Some funding might be coming into that business. And so that's probably why you're seeing the share price go up. Is it going to keep going up? I don't know. Stay tuned. You'll find out. And we move on to the next story I have here is pension funds. Pension funds have had a very good year this year. I don't know whether you have had a very good year, you as a contributor to a pension fund, but pension funds have had a very good year this year. Of course, on the back of a lot of the things that we're seeing in the economy, exchange rates, depreciation meant a lot of people moved into the stock market. So stock market boosted 33% gains the first half of this year. Like I said, the best stock market in Africa. We've also seen treasury bills going at as high as 28%. We're seeing bonds also going in the 20s. So it looks like this has been good for the market in general, and pension funds have most of the capital. So during the week, we did report that as at May, they hit an all-time high of asset under management of 20.2 trillion. If you want to compare that to 2023 asset under management was 16 trillion naira. And so you've seen that remarkable 25% growth year on year, still slightly lower than inflation, but they've grown AUM. But the question I have to pension funds asset managers is this: if we decide to adjust that value in dollar terms, have you actually grown? I mean, like, do the math yourself. Do you actually think you've grown? Is this because you actually have done serious work, or is this because, by virtue of depreciation, you've just Oh, sorry, by virtue of interest rate hike and a lot of the things that are relatively outside of your control. I mean, like, you just rode that wave and you've just done pretty well. Your pension fund contributors, have they actually done well as well? Have they seen their numbers go up? Would they be happy? I don't know. I've got my issues with pension fund asset managers. I've said it before. I think that they should do more. I think that the targets should be stiffer. I think competition in that space should be a lot more. I think that Pencom has done a good job so far, but I think the regulations are just too tight. You got to allow these guys to take a little bit more risk, and let's have a lot more competition. I just think that you have a lot of people in that sector who need to push their weight a lot more. I just don't understand why you should have pension funds that have returns that are much lower than inflation rate, and yet they don't get punished for it. I don't like punishing people, but I mean, that's the whole idea of capitalism. You've got to do very well, at least above certain benchmarks. And we don't know what these benchmarks are. Like, what's the point? Because at the end of the day, if you're doing well, like we've just showed you, 25.6% return, but adjusted for dollar terms, what does that mean for your contributors? So are they poorer or are they richer? I don't know. Because 1,000 naira last year is not the same as 1,000 naira this year. We all know that. 1,000 naira last year was probably what maybe $7 or thereabout, or 7 cents. 70 cents, yeah, 75 cents. But we all know today what that is worth now. Anyway, we'll move on to the next story. Access Bank or Access Corp or Access Holding. Sometimes not really sure what to call what the name really is, but I mean, they tend to go by Access Corporation or Access Holdings anyway, whichever one. They are going to embark on their right issue today. It's currently Nigeria's largest bank by assets, total assets, largest. No bank comes close at the moment. Yeah, you can say it's not organic based on a lot of acquisitions that they had over the years, but you can't take it away from that bank, especially if you know the history of the bank or of the organization. They've basically come from nowhere, and now they're the largest bank in Nigeria, and probably the way they're going, they could end up being the largest in Africa. I cannot see anything stopping them from getting there at the moment, right, except themselves anyway. So they have their right issue set for to start today, and from what we gather, it's going to run all through August 8, 2024. So 1 full month of right issue. They're going to be selling 17.7 billion ordinary shares, and the share price fixed is 19.75 naira. So that's basically one new ordinary share for 2 existing ordinary share. That's for the right issue. So right issue means that it's basically for existing shareholders of Access Bank. So if you don't have Access Bank shares at the moment, you're obviously not going to be able to buy those shares. At least that's what I have here. Except I'm mistaken, let me know, but that's what I have. So it's been approved by SEC, and they're going to raise 351 billion in this right issue. As if Access Bank just wants to go out of the block and raise that money once, and that's it. And they just meet the capitalization. There are some banks that are trying to do it twice because they have 24 months, so there's really no need to rush. But it kind of looks like Access Bank just wants to get this straight out of the block. So I'm going to speak more to this offer in the coming days and weeks. So look out for our podcast. Of course, you can always check Follow the Money podcast every day now. From now on, every day, I'm making that announcement now on any of your podcast channels, and you can hear me just break down some of those things as well. This show is once every week, but Follow the Money still goes on podcast on a daily basis, and you always hear some of those things. And I'm going to talk a bit more on Access Bank, and check out for nairametrics.com as well, and you see our analysis on Access Bank offer and what we think if this share price is the right price. What's very interesting with these offers is you can actually still buy the stock on the exchange. It's not like before where when they're having an offer, the share price is fixed. No, now it's not fixed. You can still buy it on the exchange. If you don't want to participate directly in the rights, you can just buy somebody else's shares on the exchange, like regular open market, and you could even get it for cheaper. You never know. So, but you only know if you pay attention and follow the money like we do on this show. All right, so we'll quickly go to best performing stocks for the month. There's not going to be a break today because we started a little bit late, so permit me, please. But if you're just joining and you're wondering who is that guy on the mic, my name is Ugodre, and this is Follow the Money, brought to you by Nairametrics. We do this every Monday, 8 to 8:30. If you miss any part of the show, you can listen to it again, like I mentioned, on any podcast platform. Just go search for Nairametrics Follow the Money on that podcast platform, and you would find it. And there would always be snippets of this as well on YouTube and on our social media handles like Instagram and Twitter. And if you're not following Nairametrics on WhatsApp channel, you go look for it. You'd also see a whole lot of content in there. And so June is over, like I mentioned. We're the best performing stock market in Africa. And leading the pack were 10 stocks that did at least 70% and above. So you can imagine these stocks returned 70% and above in the last 6 months. And so who was number one? Number one was Chemical and Allied Products, CAPPLs. I've talked about them before on the show. I really like that company. They're a paint maker, but they've been consistent over the years. Consistent with profit, consistent with dividend, consistent with share price appreciation. I love that stock. I love it. I'm seeing it here. I don't know who they are. I've never spoken to them before, but I just love it. Sound. It's part of the UAC conglomerate, but it's separately listed on the exchange, and it's been on the exchange for a long time. So there used to be CAPL back then. It's also not a new company. It's been there for a while, but solid stock. So it's up 72.6% year to date. And then we have Presco. Presco is an agro-allied company as well. Agro companies have been doing well over the last 10 years. Not this year. Last 10 years. I talked about Okomo Oil last 2 weeks when I was on this show. So it's not new. They've been doing very well. So this is also a solid pick. Solid stock there. They've done 83.5% year to date. So for those that are saying, when am I going to put my money? When am I going to invest in it? Are you hearing now? I've just mentioned two stocks. One 72%, the other one 83%. In this same country, 6 months. That's what they've done. And Presco is liquid, so it's not like you can't find that stock to buy. You can actually find it to buy. It's on 83%. And then Kutix, not really one of those stocks on the main exchange, but it's also been a stock that has been there for a while. It's a cable maker, and they have seen their share price increase 87% this year. Triple G and Company, I had a penny stock. I'm not really a fan of penny stocks in Nigeria. You all know that. But Triple G has done 92%. So that's almost double in the last 6 months. Boa Foods, that's a company that is solid as well. Part of the Boa conglomerate, been solid since it debuted on the exchange 2 years ago in terms of share price appreciation. It's up 96% year to date. So the share price moved from 193 naira to 379 naira during the quarter. Last quarter was very solid for Boa, and it's also one of the suits that stocks worth over 1 trillion naira. So Boa is worth 6.8 trillion naira at the moment in terms of market valuation. So solid pick, 96% returns. I don't know if it can continue that to the end of the year, but that's what it really is. So if you put 1 million naira in Boa, you probably be out with about 1.9 million naira at the moment. So for those who have Boa stocks, congratulations to you. Dangote Cement. Yeah, Dangote had a very solid first quarter, right? Share price just went up and kind of been bumpy in the last few weeks, but it's still solidly up there as one of the best performing stocks on the exchange. It's the fifth, and it's doubled in value in the last 6 months. So it's gained 105%. Market capitalization has gone from 5.7 trillion to 11.1 trillion. So Dangote Cement is what, virtually around maybe $10 billion or thereabout. So very few Nigerian companies are worth that much. But that's what Dangote is worth at the moment. Then, of course, move to Julius Berger. Julius Berger is the only major construction company on the exchange. I like that stock as well. Might not really be a fan of the board of management, but I kind of like the stock. It's been consistent. They always pay dividend. They've been pushing out returns year in, year out. They've also sort of reading the Nigerian cyclical economic issues, but they've been solidly up there. And it looks like there's a lot happening around Julius Berger. I'm going to home in on Julius Berger at some point on this show, maybe one of these maybe next week or up a week. But the stock is up 128% year to date. So imagine how much that stock has made. You can't tell me you don't know Julius Berger. It's not one of those stocks that you've never heard of, but they've done that good in the last 6 months. And then we'll go to Veritas Capital Assurance, an insurance company, the best performing insurance company on the exchange this year so far. It's done 148%. I'm not very familiar with this stock, I would admit, so I really don't know what the drivers are, but just surprised to see it pop up as number 3 on the list, but it's done 148%. So we're going to be looking at the stock closely in the next few days and try to find out what exactly is the major driver behind this growth. Is it fundamentals, or is it, the usual drama with the exchange? Like we kind of have wonder stocks on the exchange, but I don't want to think this is a wonder stock. And the next on the list is Geregu Power. The first power company to list on the exchange. Second is Transco Power. Geregu Power has done 150.6% this year in terms of growth, closed at 1,000 naira per share. It's gone from 399 to 1,000 naira per share, so it's gained about 150% in terms of value, and now also one of the suits at 2.5 trillion in terms of market capitalization. So it's worth close to about $2 billion or thereabout. And number 1, I'm gonna dedicate one show to this stock, is Julie PLC. Have you ever heard of that name before? Julie PLC. Have you ever heard of it before? I'm sure you're Googling right now. It's a pharmacy somewhere in Ikeja. I know they have this huge pharmacy in Ikeja. Very small stock. Revenue is probably like 200 million or thereabout. But it's done 1,508% return in 6 months. Wonders shall never end on the exchange. Mr. Jude Chemeka, you have your work cut out. Explain to us how this happened. There is an article on the stocks on Nairametrics. You might want to read it up. We tried to figure out what exactly was the major driver. How can a stock do 1,500 returns and we didn't know about it? Like how? Time is not on our side. So my stock pick for the week. I'm not going to have enough time to go into detail on why this is my stock pick, but it's my stock pick because this has been a consistent stock that has delivered year in, year out. And it's a banking stock that I like. And I think that they're also going to be announcing their offer pretty soon. And my stock pick for the week is GTB. You want to know why? Go on to nairametrics.com and you're going to see there, buy, sell, or hold GTB. And you understand why that is my stock pick for the week. All right, this is me signing out, Ugodre. All Follow the Money brought to you by Nairametrics. Remember, we do this every Monday, 8 to 8:30. You don't want to miss it at all. And then, of course, if you miss any version of this, you can listen to it on any podcast platform out there. Just search for Follow the Money, Nairametrics. This is me signing out. Do have a profitable week ahead. Bye.